Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is Psychic Medium Raymond Guzman, and today I'm going to be doing a psychic reading on Susan Wojcicki. So she is the CEO of YouTube. She is under a lot of hot water, a lot of scandals for those of you that are not following about COPPA and what is going on. A lot of people have been asking for me to do a reading on her. In my video that I titled The Witch Hunt of YouTube, basically I did talk about her briefly, but I haven't really done like an in-depth psychic reading regarding Susan. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. And so just to give you a little bit of what I see for her, you know, going into 2020. Now, I see right now that she's trying to be strong. For those of you that are not aware, there's over, I don't know, so many millions of people that have already petitioned to have her removed as the CEO, to basically impeach her as the CEO of YouTube. So it's not looking good for her. A lot of people are not happy, especially content creators and their families whose income depends on, you know, on ads, etc., on their videos. You know, there was a lot of mismanagement, but I'm here to give you some more insight and tea into this whole situation, because I think a lot of people are just blaming her, but she is not comprised of the only person, you know, even though she is the CEO, she's not the only one in YouTube that, you know, makes decisions. It's like a group of people, even though she has final say, just like, you know, in any structure, you know, set of a business or a big corporation like YouTube. I see her trying to be strong right now. I feel like she enters in 2020. She is trying to be a little bit strong. She's trying to not let the fear that a lot of people are throwing at her, the psychic attacks, the bad energy, the bad juju, as we call it in the spiritual world. She has a lot of that going on because, like I said, a lot of people are very upset at her. And when you have so many people being negative, leaving negative comments, hate comments, if you haven't seen the threads about COPPA videos or videos on her, people addressing this, like, they are coming for her as well. I see her kind of focusing her money on her money right now and saving it and trying to make the next move. Like, she's always has like a backup plan. So I feel like it's not the end of her career at all. Whether she remains on as a CEO of YouTube is yet to be seen, but for her reputation in itself, you know, I feel like this is not a good position. I feel though that like there are higher powers than Susan other than YouTube that kind of had a decision making in the new changes to YouTube videos, etc. You know, when it comes to that, there's a lot of money being shown behind this. So apart from what YouTube had to pay the FTC, there's some other powers. These could be like other companies like Microsoft, you know, Facebook. Basically, I keep hearing Spirit say bigger companies at play. The bigger entities, the bigger players look at YouTube almost like a playground of some sort. And a lot of people are trying to, that have power, are trying to kind of control or censor these platforms because they do not want truth to be exposed. They don't want people to talk, to give the tea like I do, you know. So there's a lot of suppression that's happening. I do feel like there is a finality in 2020. So I don't know if this is like this part that's happening now, the scandal behind, you know, videos being, you know, marked as kid friendly or as for adults, and COPPA and all these changes that are being rolled out come January from the FTC and YouTube. I don't know at this point what, you know, the finality is from Spirit, but it feels almost like there's a new beginning for her. There is some positivity in all of this. I do feel like right now, up until like March maybe, she's going to be very kind of secluded. She'll be going through her day-to-day routines. She may even take a vacation or a small hiatus to kind of center herself. I see her being in meetings, in and out, having, you know, some connection with her staff, but I see her like looking at the next kind of job, of the next thing that she could do career-wise. I honestly feel like her passion for YouTube is no longer there, even though it has become a good place where she's networked with a lot of content creators and has made a lot of good connections. I also feel like she has played favorites with certain content creators. and become very friends with them, like on a personal level, almost like fraternizing. I also feel like there's a mix of the of YouTube protecting a lot of the celebrities, like people that are in power, people in Hollywood. You know, she is from California, or, you know, so there is some kind of connection coming through. Spirit is talking about, you know, some favoritism, some censorship as well, to protect a lot of these celebrities, you know, a lot of these bigger players, you know, that have money. Again, I feel like her decisions are like, it's almost like her hands are tied. Like, she doesn't call the shots, even though we think that she's the CEO and she can make the decisions. Ultimately, I see a lot of, you know, her having to defer to someone else. So I don't necessarily feel like she's making the decisions herself. There is something about her deferring to other people. I also am getting that there is something about a lawsuit. There is something legal. So there definitely could be something that is coming up in the next 2 years or going forward, where she is eventually going to have to pay out some kind of money from her own pocket, or involved in some legal scandal. I don't feel like it's over yet. There's still drama, and I feel like, and I see that, like, a part of her wants to actually rest. Like, she wants to take a vacation, get away from all of it. But this is very heartbreaking for her, because I do feel like ultimately she does care about YouTube, even though I know a lot of people watching this video may not feel like she does. I do feel like a part of her does care for it, but ultimately she's going to be painted as the bad person, as the villain here, because of the fact that YouTube was her responsibility. It was her project. She was overseeing it as CEO, and so usually the owners or the CEOs have to take, you know, the fall, or take all of the blame. But behind all of this, there's a lot of deception, like I said, a lot of just negative energy that surrounds it, heartbreak. I also feel like this has kind of delved into her personal life, her love life. So anyone, you know, her partner, etc., there would be some level of, you know, stress and nerves being triggered, you know, not having emotional rest, not feeling really good, feeling kind of, you know, like, you know, you come home, it's not your resting place, you're thinking about your job constantly. I feel like she brings that home with her in some kind of way. It's like there's no detachment when you come into her work life and you come into her personal life. It's like intertwined and enmeshed together. And for her husband, or for her partner, I feel like there is definitely some level of, you know, he wants like his wife back. I feel like he wants that partner, you know, back. Like that Susan, before she became the CEO of YouTube, was a different person. And so she has had to, you know, change who she is in many ways to fit into this, you know, male-driven world and this corporate world that we call YouTube, and we call, you know, the internet. There will be some traveling for her throughout 2020 and beyond. There is a decision, I want to say by November of 2020, we see some major decision regarding YouTube, the way that the platform is carried, the way that people are monetized. I don't necessarily feel like monetization is going to go away per se, but I do feel like there is some changes that are going to be affecting content creators, which may in turn, you know, slowly YouTube may be phased out. Like I've said before, it's very possible. Things are changing for her in her life, you know, they're changing, and I think she will come out of this scandal, but it's always going to be a reputation that's carried for her. But like I said, I don't feel like after this position she would ever step into a major position again with any other company. I feel like for her, you know, she's kind of like stepped into this, she's learned from it, from her mistakes and from the decisions that have been implemented, but I feel like there's still room for opportunity for her to grow as a CEO if she should remain, because, you know, I'm shown two paths. One is her remaining CEO of YouTube, you know, for a couple more years, and then one is exiting and making that big decision and turning point to go somewhere else, or do something more, you know, on a downscale, like she's downscaling. I don't know if that's the right word, but kind of like downsizing, I guess is the better word I'm trying to find. I see her like going into something a little bit smaller, maybe even opening up her own company if she doesn't already have like some kind of business going on. But there's a lot of communication between her and other people. A lot of people at YouTube are afraid for their jobs. Let me just say this. A lot of people are afraid for their jobs. Because when a new CEO comes in, if that was to be the case, you know, I'm not saying that that's going to happen. But when there is change in leadership positions, a lot of people's positions could either be eliminated in YouTube, or there could be outsourced to other countries, which I feel like YouTube is doing that right now. You know, utilizing or outsourcing to other, it's not uncommon, like to India, to Manila, to the Philippines, you know. But I see her, you know, kind of needing to take a risk. And I feel like, you know, from 2020 on, she's going to be more of a risk taker and kind of take the risk. I don't feel like she wants to necessarily be the bad guy, you know, like I said, the bad woman, you know, the one that's the villain of YouTube that's causing all this uncertainty. But she has no choice. Like I said, there's greater powers that be, and her hands are tied. And that's what I see, you know, I see that. And again, her having to make decisions. Everything that I can tell you, it looks like, you know, she does care on a deep level for YouTube, but her passion is no longer there. I feel like she never expected or saw this coming. A lot of these things were just as is, but then when you have people, you know, that are in power, that are predominantly men and have more power than her and money, you know, they are the ones that actually call the shots. And so ultimately I feel like a lot of those key players that want to kind of censor YouTube, etc., definitely want to get rid of her, because I feel like it's ultimately easier to bring a male in. And you know, men are typically different than women. How they do things are not very detail oriented. They're, you know, sometimes a little bit more cut and dry, and not very much tied to the emotions, right? So I see that going on with YouTube. I see a strong male energy wanting to step in or step over. So again, if she was to hand over this position to someone else and step down as CEO, you know, she would be kind of like admitting some kind of guilt, or in some way, you have to understand, it would be like an acceptance of her mistakes or YouTube's mistakes, and people would judge her for that forever. So if she was to do it, it would have to be something that where, you know, she kind of does it in a very calculated way, so people don't really judge her for that. Not that she would really care about what people think about her, but we are talking about a CEO. We're talking about, you know, this following her career, wherever she would go and whatever she would do. This is a very huge scandal, and I don't feel like she's prepared. I feel like she's a very smart businesswoman, so she's not really prepared to step down until she does some damage control and tries to fix her image and fix the damage that has been done to YouTube in some kind of way. Because once that is done, then she will be ready to move on from it and hand it over to someone else. So before Susan even exits the building and, you know, swipes left and goes, she's definitely is going to try to fix the mistakes, fix the things that were done, and then she's going to be in a better position and feel better about her decision of stepping down and moving forward. So I know a lot of people are petitioning for her to no longer be the CEO of YouTube, which is unfortunate. But like I said, you know, she knew what she was getting into when she did this, even though if she didn't really have a clue. I mean, some people, you know, when you step into a big position like this, you got to know that if something happens, you know, down the line, the pipeline, you are ultimately going to be the one that takes the fall, you know, or that's held responsible for it. So, you know, that's what I see for Susan. You know, I wish her all the best. I feel like she's not in a good place right now. She's trying to be strong, but, you know, a lot of this is taking a toll on her. And, you know, she definitely needs to do some kind of public appearance or a press conference and basically address it all, you know, and where is the vision for 2020 for YouTube going forward. I do feel like there is going to be some kind of something of that nature down the pipeline. It may be through another face in the company that she, you know, confides in to be the voice for her. But in many ways, I feel like there is something coming, other than the videos that have already been put out by some people, key people in YouTube, you know, explaining COPPA and the changes that are happening. And this is all about brand and damage control in her reputation. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and also be sure to hit that red subscribe button on the bottom right hand corner of this video, as well as the notification bell icon, so that way you can be notified anytime I publish a new video. Alright guys, blessings of love and light. Have an amazing day. Bye.